Donald Trump is trying to distract from a potential losing argument at the United States Supreme Court on November the 5th about his tariff scheme. They tear down that tariff scheme and that $1 trillion he's collected, he's done, he's finished, he's already toast. Stick a fork in him. And the American economy will be better for it, getting this tax off the back of Americans and the burden that's crushing them. At the same time, he's trying to distract from the losing tariff argument by raising arguments about chasing ghosts about Joe Biden and the auto pen, and whether the auto pen pardons are proper, that the several thousand of them that Joe Biden did. I got news for him and for Pam Bondi. You don't need a writing. You don't need an auto pen. It could be oral. You can't impinge on the power of the unfettered power under Article 2 of a president to provide a pardon. Nothing says it has to be in writing. And Thomas Jefferson in 1803 used an auto pen and about pardons. So there's that. I stitch all those things together on the Intersection podcast, and here's a clip. I want to talk in detail about this auto pen pardon fake scandal that the Oversight Committee, who apparently has time to issue reports, but no time run by MAGA to help the American people at all. And so they issue a report. It's all choreographed with Pam Bondi, who says we're looking into it to try to undo pardons and clemency. Not going to work. There's no judge that's going to allow this. Pardons have been a part of life since 1803. Thomas Jefferson issued one of the first pardons. They don't have to be done in writing at all. There's no evidence that Joe Biden wasn't compos mentis, didn't know what he was doing when he signed it. In fact, he's already been interviewed, not by the Oversight Committee, but he's been interviewed and said he knew exactly what he was doing when he authorized several thousand pardons and commutations. I mean, what did they think? He was going to sit down and sign 2,500? I don't think Donald Trump signed 2,500 to cover the Jan 6th pardons. You know, he did it with like one signature. But, you know, we had individual signatures for 2,500 people, and nobody would ever expect him not to use an auto pen. And Trump used an auto pen as well. I'll cover that. And I want to talk about the new appeal that's been filed, and another interview I'll be doing tomorrow of Governor Shapiro about a voting rights lawsuit and what Pennsylvania intends to do about it. So a lot to cover, many ways to support what we do at the Intersection. As I said at the top, First Amendment speech is being crushed or attempted to be crushed by the Trump administration. So in order to fight back, there's ways to do it. The subscriber base for Midas Touch and for Legal AF YouTube channel is very important to keeping us on the air, to keeping the content in, to getting the interviews that we want. Because the bigger we are, the more your voice can be heard, because we're able to expand our network, our interviews, our team, and all of that. So hit the free subscribe button on Midas. Come over to Legal AF YouTube. We're going to hit 900,000, I think, over the weekend, on our way to 1 million subscribers in just over a year. Okay, we built this for the break the glass moment, and now we need your help. No paywall, no outside investors. Hit the Legal AF subscription button. Then we formed this Legal AF Substack, where in 4 or 5 months, we have 100,000 subscribers. And there we're putting in real time, live reporting, articles, analysis, all these filings that I talk about that you can get. And if you can swing a paid membership, which is less than $7 a month, not a week, will overwhelm you with a return on your investment that like a cornucopia of information at the intersection of law and politics. So those are the ways to support what we do. The Intersection as a podcast doing great because of you. Come over to the audio platforms of Spotify or Apple and look for the Intersection. Leave comments. I think we've got 300 or 400 reviews. Let's up that number. It's the hummingbird theory. It all helps keep us in the top 100 of all YouTube channels and to break into the top 100 of audio podcasts. And we've built a tremendous audience here at The Intersection, and I do appreciate you. And then, of course, we've got some sponsors that support what we do as well. And here's a word from our sponsors. Delete Me makes it easy, quick, and safe to remove your personal data online at a time when surveillance and data breaches are common enough to make everyone vulnerable. As someone with an active online presence, privacy is really important to me. I've seen firsthand how easy it is for personal information to end up in places you'd never expect. Have you ever been a victim of identity theft? I have. Harassment, doxing. If you haven't, you probably know someone who has. Delete Me can help. They do all the hard work of wiping your and your family's personal information from hundreds of data broker websites. You just sign up, tell Delete Me what information you want removed, and their experts take it from there. They even send you regular personalized privacy reports showing what info they found, where they found it, and what they removed. And it's not a one-time thing. Delete Me is constantly monitoring and removing the personal information you don't want online. The New York Times Wirecutter has even named Delete Me their top pick for data removal services. Take control of your data and keep your private life private by signing up for Delete Me. Now at a special discount for our listeners. Get 20% off your Delete Me plan when you go to joindeleteme.com/legalaf and use promo code legalaf at checkout. The only way to get 20% off is to go to joindeleteme.com/legalaf and enter code legalaf at checkout. One more time, that's joindeleteme.com/legalaf, code legalaf. You know my cat, Chanel? She recently decided that the new plant on my desk is her personal jungle gym. Every time I walk by, I find her perched on top, knocking leaves over like it's her full-time job. I love spending time with her. That's why I order Smalls cat food, fresh, protein-rich meals that support cat health and happiness. This podcast is sponsored by Smalls. Listeners know Chanel simply cannot live without Smalls. For a limited time, get 60% off your first order plus free shipping when you head to smalls.com/legalaf. Smalls cat food is protein-packed recipes made with preservative-free ingredients you'll find in your own fridge, and it's delivered right to your door. That's why Cats.com named Smalls their best overall cat food. Starting with Smalls is easy. Just share info about your cat's diet, health, and food preferences. Then Smalls puts together a personalized sampler for your cat. No more guessing between random brands at the store. Chanel's favorite flavor is chicken and turkey feast, and honestly, she prefers Smalls way more than her previous cat food. Look, I did a little taste test. No, not that kind. 2 bowls side by side, and she went straight for Smalls. Since switching, Chanel has had fewer hairballs, more balanced energy, a healthier weight, softer fur, and a less stinky litter box. Still not a believer? Forbes ranked Smalls the best overall cat food, and BuzzFeed said, my cats went completely ballistic for this stuff. What are you waiting for? Give your cat the food she deserves. For a limited time, because you are a Legal AF listener, get 60% off your first order, plus free shipping when you head to smalls.com/legalaf. One last time, that's 60% off your first order plus free shipping at smalls.com/legalaf. Welcome back to The Intersection. Let's get to the auto pen BS, shall we? The pardon power, the power of the presidency to pardon is in the Constitution. It doesn't say you have to use a pen, doesn't say you have to use a piece of paper, it doesn't say you have to sign it yourself, it doesn't say there even has to be anything. It could be oral. It is a pardon of the president to power. It is unlimited. It can't be challenged. It is what it is. It's been going on since the 1700s. Thomas Jefferson used an auto pen or a version of it in 1803. Trump used auto pens. Just because in his final days when he pardoned all the Jan 6ers, at the beginning of this term when he pardoned all the Jan 6ers, he did it in one 2-line pardon instead of individual pardons. That doesn't make a pardon valid or invalid. But the Oversight Committee, which is Donald Trump's hand puppet, led by Jim Jordan, did a whole BS 90-page report, which they interviewed a lot of Biden aides about what he did or didn't know at any given time. Look, Joe Biden has already given public statements in July, if not later, in which he said he was compos mentis. He had all of his faculties. He knew what he was doing, and everybody knew it. And the auto pen was at his direction on every one of those sentences. You may not like the sort of sundowning of Joe Biden towards the very end, but it doesn't mean he wasn't competent to do his job, just as Ronald Reagan, who was in the throes of dementia, we now know, and Nancy Reagan running the office. Nobody's going back and challenging the last year of the Reagan administration at all. But, Trump's been trolling Biden and therefore trying to undermine the Democratic brand since he's been in office. He put all the photos of the president in the walkway leading to the Rose Garden, or whatever's left of the Rose Garden these days. And he put an auto pen with Joe Biden's signature instead of his photo. It's ridiculous. He should worry about greater things. While Americans suffer, he's building a golden ballroom and took a wrecking ball to the White House. Why doesn't he just knock over the White House and say, oops, I want to start over again? It's the people's house. He's scarring it. And now we've got the reporting, for instance, that Benny Thompson of the Jan 6 committee just sent a demand letter on letterhead to every corporate contributor to that ballroom about how they've contributed to the ripping a hole in the heart of America and tearing down the East Wing, which had been the repository of everything that's great in this country and about first ladies, which is where their offices were, until it was destroyed by Donald Trump in a peak of anger and spending money that he doesn't have, redirecting money away from research and development and slush funds, and trying to prop up his ballroom, which has now gone up 50% in price, and he's only been at it for about a month and a half. So this auto pen, Pam Bondi, who is a lowlight, who is a crash test dummy when it comes to being a lawyer of any repute. She's not smart. She never was considered smart. That's not how she got her jobs in Florida as the attorney general, or as the impeachment lawyer for Donald Trump. And for her to say, well, we're looking into it. We're going to go look at all of these things. It's just another way for Donald Trump to try to troll the Democrats, undermine the brand, get to a one-party system. He's doing it with attacking voting, trying to suppress your vote, trying to make it harder for you to vote, trying to take away all the Democratic advantages. And now he's going after the icons and the idols of the Democratic Party, right? Letitia James, Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, and Joe Biden, et cetera, et cetera. But I will repeat, there is nothing in the Constitution that says it has to be done in writing. Presidents going back to Thomas Jefferson have used auto pens. Donald Trump used an auto pen. And I think the interesting missing part of the Oversight Committee report, we're going to post that on Legal AF Substack as well, is they never interviewed Joe Biden. How about interviewing Joe Biden? No, they didn't want to interview Joe Biden. They wanted to edit and leak and cut and paste to make their argument, to give Pam Bondi, who's floundering as the Attorney General and the Department of Justice, some sort of lifeline to prop her up. Every Tuesday night, join me on the Midas Touch Network and for commercial-free versions over on Legal AF Substack of The Intersection. I sit at the intersection of law and politics so that you don't have to. And they catch my work and support my work. I do about 40 videos every week on Midas Touch, on Legal AF, the YouTube channel. Help us with the march towards 1 million subscribers on Legal AF podcast, and become a paid member on Legal AF Substack. And then help The Intersection. Come over to the audio podcast platforms like Spotify and Apple. Leave a 5-star review and comments and all of that. And help us by watching on YouTube on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. That's the way you can support the work I do, the reporting I do, and the honest commentary I do. So until my next report, I'm Michael Popok. Can't get your fill of Legal AF? Me neither. That's why we formed the Legal AF Substack. Every time we mention something in a hot take, whether it's a court filing or a oral argument, come over to the Substack. You'll find the court filing and the oral argument there, including a daily roundup that I do called, wait for it, Morning AF. What else? All the other contributors from Legal AF are there as well. We got some new reporting. We got interviews. We got ad-free versions of the podcast and hot takes. Where? Legal AF on Substack. Come over now to free subscribe.